Hey guys, it's Jamie, bringing you another episode of Recovery Inspired Hope. Today, I'm really excited to be out here at the Connection in Forsyth County with the director, Bill Whitney.
That's me.
Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jamie Tall, for more episodes. So, Bill...
Yeah, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's pretty cool.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate all your support in this. Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is that it's been a little over 12 years since I found it necessary to take a drink or a drug to deal with the circumstances of my life. And what that's made available to me is an incredible life of abundance and surprise, opportunity to find a life I didn't know was available to me, and I sure didn't know how to get access to it. And so I believe that recovery is a right, and I also believe very strongly in the mission of empowering recovery through community. The Connection is named such because we know that the opposite of addiction is connection.
True.
And you know, when I came in, I picked up the phone. I drank a bottle of gin and I drank a bottle of wine, and I couldn't get drunk anymore. And I put my hands on a cold stove and I looked up and I said, "This cannot be what you had in mind for me." And I made a phone call, and I immediately got connected to a community of people in recovery who helped me to walk until I could walk on my own, and who loved me until I learned how to love myself, which was a long process.
Yes.
And the difference between me and my brother Richard is that he never made that connection. And his solution was to jump in front of a train and take his own life last year. I believe that what we're called to do in this life is give it away. And it's the only way we can keep it. And we learn a lot about paradoxes in recovery, and they're wonderful. And more than anything, recovery's given me an access to a purpose-filled life. And so I don't work. I just go and live out my purpose. And when you can work in that context, joy is available all of the time. I mean, I'm kind of fond of saying to people that, I could find a silver lining in a pile of poop. That's really the life of recovery. That's real freedom. When I stop bringing my past into my present because I've been triggered by something that has nothing to do with me. And that was the hard lesson to learn. Right?
And I love how you're talking about purpose, because I know for me, when I was out there, I woke up pissed off every day that I woke up. And then it was like I was always searching for something and looking for something. And then when I came into recovery, it was like, this is it. Like, this is what I was looking for. I found purpose.
What'd you find? I really want to hear that. What did you find?
I found purpose in being a part of, being a part of a community, being truly loved by people who just wanted to love me.
Connected.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So
I love that. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
When everything in your life isn't a transaction anymore.
Right.
People love you just because you're one of us.
Yes.
And
yes.
then we learn how to give that away. Mm-hmm. And we get the joy from it, and that's all we really ever wanted.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's awesome.
So what happened in your life? I mean, I know you said that, you kind of just couldn't get drunk anymore, but what happened that made you want to make a decision to do something different?
So my mom had 5 kids, and we're all alcoholic to an extent. And some things happened to me when I was a little boy that I didn't know how to deal with. So I told myself basically there was something wrong with me. And it was the beginning of a life of me believing there was something wrong with me, feeling different from everybody else. And it was this non-stop, all of my life as I look back at it, me putting on a mask to keep people from seeing inside of me, because I didn't even dare look inside of me. I created this story about how shameful and awful and unlovable and disposable I was. And I was really good, adept at making you see something entirely different. But what happened is that the medication that I was feeding myself to quiet the voices in my mind that night didn't work anymore. The medicine didn't work anymore. And the jig was up. I mean, I was exhausted. I couldn't run any farther.
Right.
And I think what happened was I surrendered. I really did. I just said, look, man, I have no idea how to run my own life because I've been faking it my whole life.
Yes.
And all of these total strangers hugged me and loved me, and they didn't need to know, but they knew that was what I needed.
Yeah.
They didn't know how, and nobody could tell me how. And like everybody else, I literally don't remember the first 6 months of my recovery, except that they took care of me. It was just tears and snot and self-pity on an AA table and anywhere in town. But that was what I needed to do to begin to grieve some of all of the foolishness, and it took a long time to accept that there's nothing wrong with me. I mean, sometimes it's still hard to say that.
Yeah.
And for people around you to know what it's like to be inside you and assure you that it's okay. You know? And you learn important things along the way. Yeah. And I remember, some of the most important things I learned. I have a couple of phrases that have stuck with me through the years. The first and highest impact at the beginning was relieve me of the bondage of self.
Yes, absolutely.
That third step prayer. Golly, I prayed that on my knees for years and years and years, and I just couldn't get it. But I knew, they told me, they promised me, and they never broke a promise. That's a great thing about recovery.
Yes.
Integrity's big in recovery.
Absolutely.
But they promised me, you keep saying this prayer. You fake it till you make it. All of these phrases that we're familiar with. That was one of the biggest ones. So relieve me of the bondage of self. And, then I got into Al-Anon, which was really helpful because, frankly, I thought quitting drinking as long as I did. And drugs were a huge part of that. My drug of choice was just more. It didn't matter what it was.
Yes,
but
same.
Yeah, I love it, sisters. In Al-Anon, I learned I don't have to like the circumstances, but I would like to like myself in them. I would like to look back and go, that sucked, but at least I wasn't a jerk about it. And there have been things like that along the way, and milestones, and there's been change, and like everybody else, real life happens, and you don't get to be nearly 60 years old and not have totally screwed some stuff up and not have made some mistakes and had some regrets, having had some joys you didn't know you were having, go through some stuff you really hated that you went through, and then you look back and go, oh dude, that was so cool. I got kicked out of college after 10 minutes, and my dad looks at me and goes, there is the military, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to the military. And I look back at that 6 years of service time, and it was amazing. I got to do incredible things.
So what part of the military were you in?
I was in the Navy.
Okay.
I got to be an intensive care nurse.
Cool.
Even though I got kicked out of college in 10
wow.
minutes. I got to sit in on coronary artery bypass graft operations, postmortems, which were, for a guy who's fascinated by that stuff, was just amazing. I met amazing people, and I'm thrilled I got a chance to do that. But the story I told myself all of that time was, oh, you're such a loser. You can't finish college. You got to go to the Navy. Right. You got to settle for that. Like, dumbass.
Not looking at all the amazing stuff that you learned and got to do.
All of this cool stuff. I got to live in California for 10 years, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Except when the earth shakes. I hate that. Still hate it. I'll take a hurricane over an earthquake anytime. So I've had a rich and wonderful and amazing life, and messed some stuff up along the way. And so I got sober when I was 47. And so I like to say I did my life backwards. I did I grew up, and then I retired, and now I'm going to work. And I had a nice business in recovery. It was very successful, and it was fun. And I moved down here 2 years ago from St. Louis. And because I met an unbelievable. My first wife was a terrific woman, but I got another brass ring wife, and so I came here, and she was the founder of this place, which I didn't know what an RCO was. I didn't know what an ARSC was. I I knew what peer supports were, but I didn't know it to describe it. And so I started volunteering here as a bookkeeper because, what the heck, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, I can help out.
Right.
And this thing has grown into a business. And she kind of looked at me and said, you should, she built it, but I know how to grow them. And so that's what we're doing now. And it's exciting and it's fun. And, the outreach part of this is so cool. The pandemic provides us opportunities to reach people in a different way.
Absolutely.
And we're doing that. And we're having a lot of fun doing it. And that's what a life in recovery is. It's a hell of a lot of fun. The number of years that I drank, I knew I had a problem for 20 years. And I drank the fun out of it by my mid-30s. And then I did 12 more years of research. What the heck? That's what we do.
Yes. We are experts.
I don't know much, but I know about this. So I got here and I got into it and I started to believe in it. And then in January, I was installed as the director, and we have an amazing group of people, and we're trying everything we possibly can to reach people where they are. And it's a really unfortunate thing, but the pandemic has set our successes in recovery back globally, nationally.
Absolutely.
Yes. But now we know what to do with it. Now we know what the tools are. And, let's get that vaccine and let's learn to live with this. We don't have to like ourselves in the pandemic, but we don't have to like the pandemic, but we want to like ourselves in them.
Right. Absolutely.
So how do we support each other in this?
Yes. I've so seen this, that's how I started the show, really, is like, how can I encourage and support people in recovery through social media? And that's how I started doing this.
It's the only access we have to a lot of people.
Yes. And without that connection, like you were saying, it is a very lonely place.
Yeah. And isolation is the devil's best friend. It really is. For us, it's not good.
It's not good for us.
Thank you for doing this. Really.
Yes.
I mean, this is what we, the recovery community, need. We need people like you who are out there sharing other people's stories, getting out there on Zoom. We do something called Friday Night Lights, where we have somebody tell their story every week, and we broadcast them on Facebook. And we've got this archive of incredible people telling amazing stories.
Yes.
And they all have this common thread of hope. There is an amazing life.
I love that. I love that. Yes, I know. When I first came into recovery, I came in 8 days before my birthday, and I thought, lame birthdays from here on out, and it's been 5 years of the most incredible times of my life. I could have never even imagined my life could be so amazing.
Absolutely. Soak that up, love it. Because a day will come when you're looking at a birthday and going, oh, damn, really? I have a lot to do still. Can we slow down? It's wonderful. It's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell me, for my last question I have for you, what is some advice that you would give somebody who is maybe would be watching this, who's not in recovery, but thinks that maybe that might be a path that they want to choose?
Thank you. You're not alone. You're never going to be alone. You feel lonely now. And maybe you don't have a problem, and maybe you do, but nobody in the world can tell you that. You do. You tell you that. You are empowered. And what feels like a life that has no choices and is encased in dread, there is another way. I was you. I was there. I didn't know how to run my own life, and there was no shame in that. I didn't have the answers. But there is a humongous 25 million people strong community in America of people in long-term recovery who get to stay in recovery by sharing their experience and hope with you. So if you're struggling, if you wonder, if you just want to talk to somebody and decide it's not for you, that's always available to you. It's always available to you. Heck, call us. Call the connectionforscythe.org. I don't care, but you will work hard in recovery if you want to be free. But a life of freedom is a right. And I mean freedom from drugs and alcohol. And you are entitled to it. Everybody is. And I promise you, it's a life you didn't imagine was available to you or just didn't know how to get. and they'll show you. But it's yours. The program is always yours. Nobody makes you do anything. Nobody makes you do choose anything. The choices are always yours. You always have the power of choice for as long as you have air in your lungs. There's hope.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. We're at the Connection in Forsyth. My very good friend Bill Whitney. I will put the information on a link so that you can get connected here and come visit. It's a super fabulous place. You'll absolutely love it. Make sure you subscribe to Jamie Tall on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.